we put things in the form of a book, and we released it and came out of the shadows that way. Okay? And so, as a result, here we are, 21 years later. What has happened as a result of all of that? What has happened? Well, more than 1,600 children, okay? More than 1,600 children to date have been saved because I dared to make a phone call and say what God had put in my heart. More than 1,600 children, okay, over the last 21 years globally have been saved. 4 just today have been saved, okay? And so in just a few moments, I'm going to try one more time. We're in the midst of some bad weather between here and where my guest is, and I hope we're not having some communications problems via the airways. But I'm going to try one more time to reach out to our guest, and then I'm going to come back in and share with you. We always have a backup, okay? And share with you what it is our guest wants you to know about this Amber Alert. You are watching the official National Amber Alert Awareness Day broadcast, celebrating 21 years of Amber Alerts. We'll be right back, okay? Enjoy the music. Okay. Okay, and we're back. You're watching the National Amber Alert Awareness Day broadcast. I am your host, the Elder Charles Williams. And while we are waiting, hopefully our guests will make their arrival. But if not, we will continue on with our broadcast. This young lady right here, okay? This young lady right here, her name is Dara Jenkins, okay? D-E-R-A-H Jenkins, like Deborah, but Dara. Dara Jenkins, she was supposed to be our guest on this evening, and she still may, okay? It just depends on if she can get in time, or we don't know what's going on. I haven't heard from her, but let's see. Okay, no, that's, let's see here. Okay, so Dara had shared with me something that she sent me a letter of gratitude and a letter of thanks. This young lady, Dara Jenkins, and her 2 children, they were the subjects of an Amber Alert / Levi's call out of the great state of Georgia. Okay? And March 23rd, I believe it was 2013. I remember I worked that case. We did a broadcast concerning her. I did not know that this was her at the time, but we did a broadcast in reference to this particular case. And here is her story. This family of 4. There were 2 children. These 2 children, Dara and her and the kid's father, they were all in the car getting ready to go somewhere on March 23rd. When 2 abductors came up to them with guns, and they suffered the following. The father was pulled out of the car and was shot in the chest in front of Dara and in front of her 2 children. Then the father was left there to die. The 2 gunmen then took and pushed Dara back in the car and made her to drive around or to ride around with them in that car, with the children in the car. Now you have the 2 children, you have the 2 gunmen, and you have Dara, the kid's mother, in the car, all at the same time. And an Amber Alert was issued, a Levi's call, which is the Georgia version of the Amber Alert, was issued. We got the information. We reissued this Amber Alert. And for hours, they were just driven around areas of Georgia. People were praying. People were believing God, because they said this young lady is a good young lady. She's a beautiful young lady. The children, I mean, they are well spoken of in their community. Dara is a model. Okay, she is a model, and as fate would have it, as they were being driven around and others were praying, the gunman took them to a mall parking lot there in Georgia. A gunman took them to the mall parking lot and told them to get out of the car. Okay? Just get out of the car. They got out of the car. This was on a Saturday morning. They got out of the car. And when they got out of the car, reports have it that I have are that Dara contacted a neighbor to let them know that she was fine, that the kids were fine. And then the authorities and others rushed to where they were, and they got them and took them back to where they needed to be. And so that's the nutshell. And Dara, she sent me on January the 27th of last year. Dara, she sent me a letter thanking me personally. She sent me a letter, and I will quote from the letter now. She says, "Thank you, Pastor Williams. Thank you for creating this ideal called the Amber Alert. because it was that ideal that's called the Amber Alert that saved our lives. And we've been talking back and forth and so forth, but if she was here right now, she would want me to tell you exactly that. And there's one other thing she wants me to tell you too. Okay? I would not be representing her if I did not say this. Along with saying thank you to Pastor Williams for this amazing concept called the Amber Alert, which saved her life and the lives of her children, she closes the letter by saying this: we have a God and we serve a God who sits high, but he looks low, who has promised never to leave us and never to forsake us. And that's how she ends the letter that was written to me. I realize that sometimes when people are told that they want to do an interview and so forth, you know, when you really sit down and you really walk back through what God has brought you through, sometimes maybe you can't talk about it. Okay? And I understand that. Okay? So to Dara and to the hundreds of other Daras out there who have experienced the same type of power and divine intervention, maybe you were kidnapped but then you were saved by this amazing concept called the Amber Alert, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And to Dara, thank you so very much. We will be in touch, I'm sure. We will be in touch. And also, I want to share with you another amazing story. Okay? I want to share with you another amazing story about another child that was saved using this concept of the Amber Alert. In Houston, Texas again. In Houston, Texas, last year, this first responder receives my kudos for being the first responder of the year as it relates to Amber Alerts. Okay? Here's what happened. Someone went to a gas station to get gas. They left their kid in the car while they went into the gas station to pay for the gas. Okay? And as a result of that, a carjacking took place there in Houston, Texas, with this little 1-year-old child still strapped to their car seat in the car. Well, here's what happened. An Amber Alert was issued immediately after that car was stolen, because the child was in the back seat of the car. And a few hours went by, no results. But then something happened. A jogger, okay, I love this because you know I'm a fitness nut, right? A jogger was jogging by in an open field. And as the jogger was jogging by that field, they heard the faint cry of a baby. Okay? Could it be? Yes, it could be. They heard the faint cry of a baby. And the jogger ventured over into the field for just a little bit. And then the jogger saw a car seat. The jogger went further into the field. He saw the car seat and the child was still in the car seat. Okay, listen, don't you know that that was nobody but God? Okay, that child had been discarded into the